You seem to still be up there somewhere.
Maybe I am. There are flying saucers.
Supposing there are Martians or something in there.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm itsasherz, and this is...
Tobias.
And also...
Nate.
Oh my gosh, we have a special guest with us today. It's Nate, you guys. You've heard of Nate. There's a reason for it, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But before we get to that step, Tobias, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty great. I did tons of exciting nerd stuff. I got to play Castles and Crusades, which does not happen a whole hell of a lot because normally I am the one running it, but not this time. No, this time I got to play. So that was fantastic. And my Sunday group, one of my other role-playing groups, we just started a Delta Green campaign. Now, if anybody's not familiar with that, I think it would be of particular interest to listeners of this podcast because Delta Green is a modern horror game where you investigate cosmic horrors, really. And what is particularly interesting about it to me is the amount of real-life weirdness that the creators of this particular game have drawn into it, up to and including a page in their handler's guide that as part of the design of it, it's got like all of these different newspaper clippings and stuff. And literally one of them is about Mothman sightings around Chicago. And I remember buying the book and just stumbling on that page and being like, holy shit, like I'm a part of that, like I work on that, and here I am in this game that I think is awesome. So that was pretty exciting. But anyway, I got to start playing in a Delta Green campaign. So I'm super stoked about that. And otherwise, I guess in terms of weird stuff, because let's face it, I think that's what people really want to hear about. I do have, I've got a few irons in the fire. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but sort of in very early development for what I think sounds like a pretty interesting like limited series, documentary style on Mothman sightings. And, of course, I've got my next book that I'm working on. I'm waiting to hear back from the publisher on that. So fingers crossed that goes well. I think they'll be putting it, in front of their review board this week sometime. And, beyond all of that sort of self-promotional shit, right, I've also got cases that people keep reaching out to me about, and I feel kind of bad because I've gotten behind in answering some of those emails. Like I have emails from last month that I have to get to yet. But rest assured, dear listeners, that I will be concentrating on those shortly because anybody who reaches out to me about an experience, at the very least, damn sure deserves me writing them back. And I've just been swamped lately with other stuff, and I've gotten a little behind, but I will catch up. And it's interesting stuff. I think I mentioned some of it before. It's a variety of phenomena that people have been reaching out about, but I'm sure it's stuff that people will be interested in. And fundamentally, and why I do this, of course, is the help that I can try to give to witnesses. So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to connect with some of these folks on a little deeper level and provide them with however close I can get to help, like whatever that looks like in these particular situations. So, but that in a nutshell was my weekend. Really more of the same, a fairly typical Tobias weekend.
I should have let Nate go first. I just realized how rude it is to have a guest and not let them go first.
Yeah, way to go. I wanted to let Nate go first, but
Every week I'm very interested in what Tobias is up to because I love hearing about his his games, and I'm a little disappointed that you're not named by name in the game, Tobias. But
you and me both.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
I'll get in touch with the publisher.
Thank you. It's Arc Drake Publishing. I'll give you their email off air.
Yeah, I'll let them know. I'll let them know my thoughts.
Well, Nate, how was your weekend? Nobody knows what you do during the weekend except for fight bears and, fuck everything, I guess, with your masculine penis.
How do you know he doesn't have a very feminine penis?
I could. You don't know. I did fight a lot of bears. No, my weekend was quite fantastic, actually. I took a long weekend off from my day job. So I was off most of last week where I just went up north. We have a family cabin way up in the Northwoods of Wisconsin here because I actually happen to live only like 20 minutes away from Tobias as another Wisconsin boy. So yeah, we have a cabin up in the Northwoods, and I went up there and I really did absolutely nothing. I went fishing most days. I started a lot of fires. I threw shit around in the woods for a little while. Because where our cabin actually is one of, at least as far as I know, I'm not quite the paranormal investigator side of things, but as far as I know, it is one of 2 Bigfoot hotspots in the state of Wisconsin. So I did go around and I did some whoops out in the woods to see if I could call in a Bigfoot, but none came, which is probably for the best. I don't know if I could really handle seeing a Bigfoot penis.
Well, you wouldn't see it
in the flesh.
Nobody ever sees it.
Until you do. That's what I'm saying. True. It's like, yeah.
If anybody was going to seduce Bigfoot to see his dick, it would be Nate.
That's true. Well, because you'd have to at that point. You'd be like, God damn it, he showed up. Fuck.
Right.
I may as well ask.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe next weekend, right? Maybe next time.
We'll see.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I had a medical issue, so I had to stay home most of the weekend, but that's okay. My medical issue is doing its thing, and I will be okay shortly. But it gave me the time to catch up on some things that I really wanted to catch up on, and I'll tell you guys what those things are. I've talked about this guy before in the show, but I can't get enough of him. I've been watching this YouTuber. His name's Reckless Ben, and he's a fucking genius, you guys. He's a fucking genius. So he just dropped a new YouTube video, and it's about tracking down the director, Lucifer Valentine. Have either of you heard of Lucifer Valentine?
That name rings a bell.
So he makes these really awful movies. They're referred to as the Vomit Gore Trilogy. The first movie's called Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. The second one's like regurgitated or some shit like that. Anyway, they're like extreme horror movies, and most of them consist of people puking, and it's really disgusting. And don't watch it. But that's not the thing. The thing is that Lucifer Valentine himself, the director, has been largely unknown. His identity, his true identity, has been unknown forever since he started making these movies, and there have been really extreme allegations about the guy. Grooming, sexual assault, people stating that the female actors in his film are not necessarily consenting participants. Really fucked up shit. So Ben went on the chase to go and find this guy, and he did find him. Spoiler alert, go watch the entire video. It's fucking genius. But he did find the guy. And let me tell you, this guy, I've never seen him do a video where he has not absolutely gotten to the bottom of what it is that he's working on. And so he's got a Patreon, and one of his biggest issues, so like he's also done, he infiltrated McCamey Manor. And for people that don't know, it's a really extreme haunted house situation. I'll be talking about that sometime here in October. But basically they torture people to the extreme, and then people tap out, and whatever. It's a big situation. Anyway, he took on the Manor Challenge and got as far as they would allow him to go, and then they made him quit, made him pull out because the guy's just fucking hardcore, and it's a whole thing. However, you can't really watch his McCamey Manor series, even though it was a big deal. It was pretty groundbreaking for the haunt community itself. YouTube continues to remove his videos. So he has a whole Patreon where you can go watch his stuff. And I know it's weird to promote somebody else's Patreon, but I joined it. And man, that was the best $5 I ever spent, because he's got shit on there of all the stuff that he does. And it's crazy. In his most recent video, he talked about how, well, he was going to leave YouTube because he can't continue to do these, crazy investigative journalist stunts that he does and make money off of it, because he can't on YouTube. He's demonetized on there. So he went to different, streaming services, Netflix and Hulu and all this, to try to sell his movies on there. And they won't take him because it's too extreme. They're worried about the legal issues. So the guy's awesome. But I found out that this guy is from here. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'm gonna meet up with Reckless Ben at some point. It's not nothing set in stone. We haven't even talked about it yet. But this is my next goal. I need to join whatever cause it is that this guy is doing, because let me tell you, as far as journalism goes, he's doing all the shit that all journalists should be doing. And man, I relate to that on such a heavy level. And we need good journalists out there doing the Lord's work. So anyway, I watched a bunch of his shit this weekend, and it was super entertaining, and you should check it out.
Okay, very good. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. Why aren't more journalists looking into fucking vomit porn horror videos? Damn it.
I was actually a journalist for a little while, and the closest I can get to that is I did go to a Trump rally and throw up because I got heat stroke. So does that count?
That's yes. Pretty close. That's pretty close. Have you ever joined a cult?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, you got to get on it. Ben's joined several of them. Yeah, I mean, gosh, he's good at it. You got to catch
It's not hard. In all fairness, it is not difficult to join a cult. That's kind of the whole point of cults.
Well, that's true too. It's not hard to join a cult. That's a good point.
I think I could be happy in a cult.
Sometimes.
I'm kind of a rule follower. I just kind of like being told what to do.
I have such extreme anxiety over just making daily life choices. Sometimes it really does sound nice.
I don't like the sex stuff, though. I don't know if I could be down with that.
Yeah.
Because they always got some sex stuff going on. That's weird.
Always. Yeah.
I think it depends on what kind of sex stuff, it's there's some that are just straight up sexual assault, and you're getting it whether you want it or not. Now there's some that it's oh, we're all gonna, hey, it's Tuesday night, we're getting together, it's cult sex time, and I'd be like, okay, I can get down with cult sex time.
That's never how it works. It's always one dude who's just sorry guys, God told me that I have to fuck all your wives. And you can't have sex with them ever again. Hey, man, I'm as mad about it as you are. But that's just what God said.
Yeah, maybe I should start a cult. Maybe that'll be my next, and we'll have cult sex time consensually every Tuesday.
There you go. You should. I think that's just an underground sex club. But, whatever. You can call it whatever you want.
We'll call it Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. There you go. Very good.
Anyway, all right. So this is going to be a little bit different of an episode, because we're kind of not really doing a topical episode. I don't know how we want to do this. Basically, we have big news. Not good news, not bad news either. Just news. This is a strictly news episode. I guess, Tobias, I don't know. I don't know if you want to start it off, if you want me to say something.
You can just you can just toss it over here. That's fine. So, unfortunately, due to the amount of other projects and things that I have going on in my life, I am going to be too busy, frankly, to continue with the podcast. This was not an easy decision for me to come to. I love doing this podcast. I love getting to hang out with Asherz and Nate, and I've loved interacting with the listeners over these past months. And so it was a difficult decision, and I did labor over it, but I really got to the point where I have to scale back, and I had to make some tough decisions on what that was going to look like. And really, to put it in context, I am primarily a writer. That's how I got my start in the paranormal. That's what I always envisioned for myself. It's my first love. And I more or less, due to time constraints, had to pick between continuing with the podcast and continuing my writing career. And that it was I'd like to say it was a really tough decision, but like, frankly, as much as I hated making it, to me, that's not a choice at all. Like I have to continue writing. Of course I do. And so, I had to let Asherz and Nate know. And that is the position that we are in, like the show may go on, but I won't be a part of it every week. Although, I hope it has continued success. And also, of course, I will, if assuming that it continues in its present form, I will. I'll come back. I'll do guest spots. I'll visit. I would never leave y'all forever. It's just it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now, right?
I think that's a really good way to put it. This is, if you feel confused and you feel blindsided, or, whatever, I will do something. I don't know what yet, obviously. That means that, hey, there's a co-host position open if anybody's interested. No, I'll probably, you guys, especially you guys that have been here for a very long time, you've gone through this process with me before. Still very much dedicated to the show. Still found you guys a quality host, right? That part's not going to be compromised at all, but I am still kind of trying to decide what this may look like going forward, and I don't know yet. So I don't know. There will probably be an episode next week, and maybe at that time I will have a little bit more information for you guys going forward. But nothing happened. Me and Tobias are still very much friends. It's just, this is what works for him in his life, and this is what he needs to do. And he prefers to deliver his information through written text. And I think that's awesome. I wouldn't have ever talked to him if I didn't think it was awesome to begin with. So I think that he should continue to do that. I think, that makes the most sense. And of course, like Tobias said, you're going to come back on, and we'll see you on here again. So yeah, not goodbye forever. I don't know, Tobias, what did you like to do? Why did you like to do the show? What was your favorite part about it?
Sure. I mean, I'll tell you honestly, straight up, I don't get the opportunity to talk about this stuff very often. I research it, I write about it, even like interviewing witnesses and things like that. As much as I enjoy that work and rewarding as I find it, it's not the same as being able to just sit down with somebody else who knows what they're talking about and just talk about weird shit. Because I got to tell you, I don't know, and this might be a surprise to people, I don't know that many people that are very into this stuff. And certainly not people that I interact with regularly. Like most of my friends that I see, that I see often, they're not really into this stuff. We're like, they're more into nerd stuff or other more, I think, mainstream undertakings, right? Interests. And so that's normally what we'll talk about. We might talk about Star Wars or role-playing games or whatever, but if the paranormal comes up at all, it's usually in reference to, oh, hey, Tobias, I saw this weird fucking thing the other day, and it reminded me of you because you're also super fucking weird. And they'll, and then they'll be like, have you ever heard of this? And then maybe I have, maybe I haven't, doesn't matter. But it's not the same as being able to sit down with Asherz every week, to sit down with you, Asherz, every week and just really get into a topic and have a conversation about it. I don't know very many people at all that I can do that with, period, let alone with that kind of frequency. So that was it for me. Like that's what I liked about it. That's what I found to be maybe not the most rewarding, because probably the most rewarding for everything I do in this field is if I'm able to somehow help someone. Like if listening to an episode has helped anyone either process their own experience or gain a greater understanding of somebody else's, then that's what I would consider the absolute most rewarding. But certainly being able to talk about it as much as we did at the level that we have was very rewarding. So
Awesome. I was going to ask you another. Oh yeah. What was your favorite episode?
Damn it.
I know.
I don't know. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, right. No, there are some that stuck out. Like I really enjoyed the Pascagoula episode. I really enjoyed the Kelly Hopkinsville episode. I thought, well, there, Sam the Sundown Clown, like that was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
There have been a lot of bangers, there have been a lot of good episodes. Really, just any of those where I felt like we got to explore a mystery and inform people of aspects of that mystery that they probably hadn't heard before, and I think we're able to do that with all of those. Vegetable Man is another one. Just any episode where I felt like we were adding additional information. But again, there's so many like that, and there are so many good ones. I mean, Missing 411, that was a good episode. Montauk Project, that was a good fucking episode. There's so many like that where I think people have had, and of course that was why we did this. We've had this conversation off air where we're like, what is the goal here? And it's always been to inform people about this stuff that they're interested in, but give them information that you're not going to get most other places, because by and large, a lot of people treat this like an extension of the entertainment industry, which, yeah, sure, it basically is in a lot of ways. And as a result, don't bother with like diligent research, and so being able to inform people in a way that hopefully they found entertaining, but also gave them details on subjects that they're not really going to find elsewhere, that aren't going to be readily available, to help them actually get the entirety of the context surrounding these subjects. I mean, that's where it's at. And we brought that to like fucking every episode, So because of that, it's difficult for me to pick one. But, whatever. You could pick any of the ones that I just mentioned and say that's my favorite. I wouldn't argue.
I know that's going to be the hardest. It's going to be hard to find somebody where I can like be lazy. I'm going to have to actually do work again. Oh, fuck. That sucks.
you always did work. You did work the whole time.
I did. Okay. You're right. No, it really is. No, it is a very unique thing that we do. I feel like we do bring to the show. Any one of these paranormal podcasts you can listen to, and I guarantee you They don't do even half the work that we do. They probably maybe pull up a Wikipedia page or a YouTube video, and that's the research for that episode. And that's it. You know, that's the difference, when you have real investigators who are invested in truth working on this stuff. That's what they're going to deliver on the show. And so you've just all been very blessed that they've always been hilarious and ridiculously good looking. So I hope, some big shoes to fill for the next person. I'm telling you.
True.
God, they got to be funny and know their shit. At least
there aren't that many handsome geniuses out there. Good luck finding another one. I don't know what to tell you.
Jeez, that talk about nerd stuff every week. I know our nerd listeners are going to be so sad. They're going to be like, "Wait, I better go up to the fucking nerd bar. That's where I should go."
You should. You should. Well, anybody, continue to follow me on social media. I'm still going to be in the paranormal, and I will still continue to post things about tabletop role-playing games, of course. So anybody who's missing that, you know where to find me.
That's true. You do post about it at probably about once a week at least. So,
oh yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I don't know, Nate. What do you want to add to this conversation?
I got involved with all of this because of Tobias. I think I met him at the Broadhead Manor like 2 years ago now or something like that. At some convention, and then I reached out because I was working in radio, and I was just like, man, I want to do something with all of this. And it just so happened that when I reached out was right when he got started talking with you, and then I came on to here. So yeah, the whole reason that I've been doing all of this behind the scenes back end stuff every week to make sure that y'all sound as good as you do, it is because of Tobias. So I do appreciate you connecting us here, Tobias. And yeah, I won't be going anywhere. I'll still be editing as long as there's episodes. I'll be putting in the theme song and everything like that. But just all those behind the scenes things. But yeah, it's just sometimes life just sort of works that way.
Yeah. What if Nate, the new co-host, what if you guys don't jive and then you just got to really never show up on Mondays to record?
Listen, I know how to take care of people.
Right. I'm just gonna say, Nate has final say. If he doesn't like somebody, true. That's like if my dogs don't like somebody, I'm never gonna trust that person. If Nate doesn't like them, they're dead to me.
I'm the one in audition. I'm the one who can take anyone out.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very.
If I want to have an Asher solo episode, it can be an Asher solo episode.
So many times I've asked people, I'm like, we don't have a lot. Usually it's a pretty streamlined show. We just record all the way through. But sometimes there are some mishaps and Nate has to cut things. And I'll ask people that listen to the show, I'm like, hey, did you notice anything weird about this week's episode? They're like, well, yeah, every week. And I'm like, no. Besides that, and they're always complimenting Nate's editing skills. So the audience appreciates you more than you know. They hate our ads, though. They don't like those. But that's not Nate's fault. He doesn't do that part. So.
That's why you subscribe to the Patreon.
Exactly. Right. Patreon.com/WednesdaysTalk. You guys are still going to get your episodes. You're still going to get your ad-free episodes over there. We're still going to share content over there. I'm still going to do the hangouts. None of that is going to change. And hopefully, maybe the new person would want to add some flair on there. I don't know. Again, we're not there yet. So, it's not, baby steps. Right. So we will, figure that out. Probably going forward, I will have a myriad. So the last time this happened, what I did was a bunch of interview shows. And I don't like those very much. I'll just be honest with you. Not that there's anything wrong with the people I had on. They were still quality guests. But, you guys don't care about that. You're a different breed of listener. You care about learning about a new topic. And so I'll probably have guest co-hosts on. But we will probably still be covering a topic, at least until we find who fits. And then, here's the thing about it is that, yes, I got to show up and talk about these things every week, but you guys got to show up and listen to it every single week. And you're kind of going to get a little say in the matter. If you hear somebody that you like, that you want to hear more of, you got to let me know. You got to communicate with me because, again, you're the ones that have to hear it. So, and then I'll let you know if they have Nate's blessing and we'll move from there. That's probably what this is going to be for a minute going forward. In the meantime, Tobias, are you still going to be writing up things for Singular Fortean? Are you going to maybe do a little bit more over there? A little about the same? Do you know?
Yeah, I do intend on keeping that going. That was part of my decision-making process, because this will allow me, this will free up more time to produce articles for my personal website. Now that's not why I'm doing it. It's not, because I need time to write more articles for my personal website, but I do intend on keeping that going. And I think that you'll see articles with increased frequency as a result, because fundamentally being able to set aside more time for writing, and by writing I mean specifically books, working on my next book, is also going to mean that I can use a portion of that time to write articles for Singular Fortean also. So yeah, I do very much anticipate keeping that going. And a good website can do a lot for somebody. I can't tell you how many times somebody has reached out to me. It could be a producer, whatever. So somebody with a podcast or shooting a documentary, or, somebody with a television opportunity, something where their first contact was my website. They were like, "Hey, I saw your website. Looks great. We'd love to have you do this thing, or would you like to talk to us about this project or something?" So that's definitely not going anywhere. And also it's, for me, I like to have a free option for people. That's important to me. I think that the paranormal is for the people, damn it. And they shouldn't have to fucking pay all the time to access it. And so I like to put as much of the investigation information that I receive that I can on my website. And I will never charge people for that. Anybody can go on and read an article that I've written for free. Yes, there are ads. No, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it unless you want to pay for my website. So, but regardless, that's basically free. If I can just say, when I was a kid, ads were expected. You couldn't watch TV and just have whatever you wanted to be on whenever you fucking wanted, right? You had to time your whole schedule around the X-Files or whatever it is you wanted to see. And then when you were watching it, there were commercial breaks. You couldn't fast forward through them. The best you could do is use them as an opportunity to grab something to drink or go to the bathroom. But if you did that, you better hurry your ass back, because if you don't get back by the time the commercial break is over, you're missing part of the show. So my point is, it's not that bad, you guys. We can all put up with a couple ads here or there. It's not the end of the world. Anyway, yes, I will be continuing a Singular Fortean, because, like I said, the paranormal is for the people, and I like to have a free option for people to be able to interact with my work, learn about the paranormal, because they should be able to. Everybody should be able to.
Excited to be able to steal your news again. God, that's been tough. I'm like, well, damn, I know Tobias's news this week, and that's what he's going to share, and that's what I want to share. But here we are. Right.
There you go. Yeah, I am, I am excited to get back to being able to do a little bit more of that. Again, it's not the reason that I have to step back, but it will be a result. As a result of that, I will be able to devote more time to writing news articles and things for my website. So,
yeah, and I think that people, if you're just a listener and you've never done anything like podcasting before, you're like, well, that's easy. I could just turn on a microphone and talk about it. Yeah, Okay, do it week after week after week after week. It does cost a lot of time. And then we do it, like I said, it's every week, like clockwork. I mean, sometimes we have mishaps and things like that, but like last week we didn't do the episode because Tobias lost his internet. But I still researched for it, still have all the research notes for it. So like that's time that I can't get back. So I might as well, put it out there eventually sometime, and I will at some point. But it's not just us sitting here and doing the show for an hour and a half to 2 hours every week. I mean, my God, we spend like the first hour just talking, just catching up, just palling around before we even record. And then almost another hour after we record. I mean, it takes up the whole evening. And that doesn't include the research and the time put into just preparing that episode, which is the topic, and researching the topic well, and the news, my gosh. I mean, the stress of, I got to share something exciting for this weekend. Everybody wants to know, damn it. It is a lot of extras to it. I would say that it's a part-time job in and of itself. I mean, I probably spend 8 to 10 hours every week on this podcast. That's what you put into it. So Tobias being able to sit down for 2 hours throughout the week to write for a Singular 40 or whatever doesn't compare to 10 hours to prepare for a podcast episode. It just doesn't.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly it. I think you put that very well. I mean, like I said, I'll be able to do more of it, but it's not the reason that I had to step back from the show. It's just, it frees up so much time that I should be able to have more time to devote to that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like you said, we'll have you back for other things, just little updates here and there on how you're doing and what you're working on. And I don't know, maybe we'll have you back sometimes and do classic topical episodes,
Sure.
I think people would like to hear from you from time to time. And, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, I guess.
There isn't much else to say. I mean, This could be a short episode, It really is just kind of a goodbye and thank you, from me to you and Nate, of course, and to all the listeners. Everybody's support has meant a lot to me. And I want people to understand that, this experience has meant a lot to me. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm just grateful that I got to do it for the time that I was allowed to do it.
Maybe when you retire and I retire, when we both retire, we can do another podcast.
There you go. As soon as I'm independently wealthy. I'm sure this next book is going to be the one that makes me independently wealthy, so I don't have to work anymore. Then that's all we'll do is podcasts.
It's gotta be, right? It's gotta be what happens. No, we'll figure it out. And like I said, to you guys, if you hang on, just a wee bit longer for these next coming weeks. I also have a lot of life changes going on that I haven't really disclosed publicly. So this might take me a little bit more time to kind of navigate and get kind of a more permanent fix. So just, give me some grace and some patience. Go back, go listen to the other episodes that you haven't listened to. Go listen to the other co-hosts. This show's been on for a very long time, going on almost 6 years now. There's plenty for you to go catch up on. And, in the meantime, we will figure out what exactly the next move is. Nate, do you have any final thoughts on anything before I go to Tobias's final thoughts?
Yeah, I just encourage everyone to continue reading the Singular 40 in Society, as well as my new rival website, bigfootboners.biz, which I'm looking at purchasing, which will be a carbon copy of the Singular 40 in Society.
Ads and all, huh?
Ads and all. So
the only reason I'm mad is because I didn't think of it.
That's fair. That's fair. I know. What is it? Bigfootboner.biz? Is that what you're?
Yeah, bigfootboner.biz.
What if it does better than Singular 40? And all the articles even have written.
Then I'm retiring.
Nice.
Fair.
Well played.
That's
No,
fair.
but thanks for appreciate everything you've done, Tobias. And like I said, you're the reason I'm a part of this. So yeah, just wanted to. I appreciate you letting me pop on this week to just say thank you.
Well, wouldn't have it any other way. You've obviously been a big part of the show and will continue to be so. And we've been trying to get you on the mic forever. So sorry this had to be the circumstance that finally led to it. But
listen, I took notes this week
nice.
too.
You took notes?
On the history of UW lacrosse and the movie Near Dark.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know, Nate. It might just be me and you next week. We'll figure it out.
That'd be a good one. I'd listen to that.
We're prepared. Tobias, what are your final thoughts? What do you want our audience to know?
Oh boy. I think fundamentally, if we could boil my time on this podcast down to its basest elements, the takeaways that I would want people to have are that these subjects are important. They are. And they're not just important because people find them entertaining, although that's a perfectly acceptable reason to be interested in them. No, they're important because they speak to a fundamental human experience. And these experiences are powerful, they are impactful, and they deserve attention, but not just any attention. They deserve the proper attention to detail that really does justice for the people who have lived through them. And I think that there's a way to do that is still entertaining, but I think too much of this field is full of the opposite, where it's entertainment without the authenticity. And I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. I think we can have both, and I think that's what people should be shooting for. But if you can only do one, do authenticity. And so that's the big takeaway, is never lose sight of the fact that there are real human beings behind these stories, and treat them with the respect they deserve, because people do deserve better. And beyond that, I just want to say again what I've already said about how much I have loved my time here, how much I've enjoyed being able to hang out with you, Asherz, and Nate every week, and all of the wonderful listeners and all of the support they've given, and everything that they've done, and the times that they've reached out and given so much good feedback, and most of it was even positive. So I really enjoyed that. Just thank you to everybody, and I'll miss you. But like I said, it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now.
Okay. And of course, thank you for coming on and doing this with me every single week. I agree with your sentiment. It's tough to find people who, not only actively want to talk about these topics, but know what the hell they're talking about. That's really difficult, and to make it fun. Thank you for making it fun and making it weird. With that being said, guys, I will see you back here next Wednesday.